This is Open to Hope Radio, featuring Dr. Gloria Horsley and her daughter, Dr. Heidi Horsley, coming to you on behalf of the Open to Hope Foundation, dedicated to those who are looking for hope after loss. Now, here's Dr. Gloria.
Welcome to the Open to Hope Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my co-host and daughter,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Well, Heidi, today is World AIDS Day, and I think a lot of us are thinking that AIDS is a thing of the past, but our guest is going to talk about it today and about the loss of friends and what some call the chosen family, or the family that, if you're in a gay community, that you connect with. And there have been a huge amount of losses to AIDS, and it is still a phenomenon. So, Heidi, you introduce our guest today, and then we'll get on with this topic.
Absolutely, I'd love to. Our guest today is Doneley Meris, and Doneley is a grief psychotherapist and training educator, and is the founder and executive director of HIV Arts Network. He is adjunct faculty at New York University and the chair of the People of Color Multicultural Committee of the Association for Death Education and Counseling, also known as ADAC. Welcome to the show, Doneley.
Thank you.
Well, it's great to have you on today.
It's been a tradition here in New York City where a lot of organizations gather and read the names of men and women who we have lost from this disease at City Hall. So that's one of the activities happening. I'm sure there's hundreds of other activities, not only here in the city, but globally, because this is the one day that we commemorate, celebrate, and remember those individuals lost to this disease. In America, we've certainly lost over 3 million people.
Wow.
And it's a continuing epidemic because the sad thing is this is the only day that we actually think about the loss of loved ones from this disease, in spite of the fact that there are still people getting infected every single day. And we still don't have a cure to this virus. And that's one thing that people are not remembering. There is no cure to HIV virus. People who have been on medication for a long time are not really dying from AIDS-complicated diseases. They're dying from diabetes, dying from heart attack, dying from other diseases that are not commonly connected to the HIV virus. Because they're living longer, their bodies are getting worn out from all the medications that they've taken over the years.
Mm-hmm. We recently had a friend's son die of AIDS. Heidi, you grew up with him. And I was sad because his family's very religious. And they seemed reluctant to talk about what he died of. They said a heart attack or something. And then in asking other people, we found out he did have AIDS and had had it for many years. Talk about that a little bit, about the stigmas.
Well, I think the stigma and the discrimination of people living with HIV and dying from this disease continues from day one. It's not the same as when we first discovered this disease, where people were wearing masks and being afraid to touch anybody. But if you are in Middle America, where religion is a big thing, there is still a shame from family members if a member of their family is living with the disease, because they're going to be socially rejected by the community. And that happens today, not just in Africa, but in the United States of America.
Well, you know, it was interesting, Doneley, and I know you saw this yesterday in the New York Times. They did a piece on Elton John. And
That's right.
He talked about how he only got involved in AIDS 20 years ago, and he's in his late 60s, and it was after the Ryan White story came out, and he realized, look, I need to get involved in this cause, and he has since, started a foundation and raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for research and to help people that do have AIDS. But it was interesting that it took, this young kid from Middle America getting AIDS to kind of wake up people and say, wait a minute, we need to jump on this cause.
2014, that's what we need to do again, because we don't have those Ryan White or Matthew Shepard, who was a gay man who didn't die from AIDS, but these are the kinds of new generation energy that we need to look out there. There are not that many celebrities who are talking about it other than Elton John. And when celebrities actually do something, it's mostly fundraising related stuff. They're not hands-on in the way that a lot of other people over the course of 30 years have done. there's still stigma for somebody volunteering in an AIDS organization. Why are you doing that? Aren't you afraid that you might get infected? I mean, this is 2014. It's just ridiculous.
Right.
The reason why I started HIV Arts Network is I've lost a lot of friends on the mid-'80s and early '90s who basically were just shunned by their families. The gay community at that point and also the lesbian community became their supportive families because most of them were abandoned by their nuclear family because of their sexual orientation. And that is a work that we continue to do today. The organization that I run basically caters to the needs of artists and performers living with HIV and their support networks. And we're not only supporting the people living with HIV, but more importantly, the supporters, the people who are taking care of people who are sick. They are the ones who need the help also.
My mom and I have talked about this a lot. You know, when you're a caregiver, that's part of your identity. And
absolutely.
Like you said, once people die, I mean, that's a huge amount of time that you spent, you know, taking care of people, et cetera, and part of your identity. And now all of a sudden, not only have you had a loss, but your everyday role is also gone.
I have another client who had it was a serious discordant couple situation. One was positive, one was negative. Then they decided after 11 years of being in a relationship, same-sex relationship, that they should adopt a baby. And through the help of a female lesbian friend, they went to Russia and adopted a little girl. And co-parented this wonderful, beautiful girl for 4 years before the HIV-positive partner died. And today, that friend, the lesbian friend, is now assuming the mother role in that co-parenting relationship, which is a beautiful
that's a wonderful
thing.
Story.
That is. Now let me ask you, Doneley, what about mom? What about if I've had a child die? And what about friends?
Yeah, there's a wonderful experience that I had with a mother who's she's Dominican and also Puerto Rican, a combination of the two, and raised a very devout Catholic. And she never realized that her son, who lived mostly in New York City, she went back and forth to Puerto Rico, but she never realized that her son is a gay man, and happened to been infected with HIV. And one of the things that she did when she found out, of course, she embraced the son instead of the usual story where I'm not going to be part of this. You're a gay man. It's against my religion, all that stuff. But through her congregation, her parish, she was able to network with other mothers and other parents and talk about the fact that in the Puerto Rican and Dominican culture, there are kids, their own children, who might turn out to be gay or lesbian, and they should embrace their children no matter what happens to them. And this is exactly what this woman did. And she spent most of her 6 months taking care of her son before he unfortunately died.
I worked with the AIDS Health Project in San Francisco, and one of the unfortunate things that I saw was families coming together, but really when they finally get real, when the family member is actually, very ill, and then they finally give it up and move into the relationship, and which is very hard because then they've missed out so much on their loved one's life. It can be really, really hard on families. So, I hope people realize that this is a thing that happens a lot, and hopefully people that have had that kind of loss will go out and try to get support. Right. And maybe even connect up with the partners and friends of their child after they die.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that we've done well here in New York City is the outreach to not only people who are living with HIV who are HIV negative, but families of people who are affected by the disease. One of the things that HIV Art Network has done over the years is reach out to family members, particularly parents of gay men who are infected with HIV, and invite them to have conversations, family conversations about what are their fears? Your son, who's 24 years old, just got diagnosed with HIV. Would you want to come in and sit down with him and maybe a friend or two of his, so you can get a sense as to what happened, what is he doing, and how can you help as a mother of this 24-year-old person? But we have to be realistic that if we reach out to parents whose sons or daughters are LGBT, that doesn't mean that they're going to come in and say, oh yeah, okay,
right,
I'm coming to talk to you. So we have to be realistic that maybe half of the people who will reach out to will probably say, no, I've had my relationship and I've severed my relationship with my child. You do whatever you need to do with him.
You know, I have to say one thing, too, though. I think we tend to say parents with an S, like they were one unit. And oftentimes
Exactly.
I've seen in this situation, a mother may be willing to reach out, a father, and while the father won't, or the father may be willing to while the mother won't. So we really have to, it takes some courage to step up sometimes. And maybe step up after you've had a loss of your child and reach out to the friends. There may be friends that you can help.
That's right. And I think the other element to that is once the person is dead, what happens to that parent? Are they just going to be on their own? So what we do is encourage the social networks of that person who's deceased to continue reaching out to the families. That way they're not left in different corners, so they can continue to be together and grieve as a unit, not just in isolation. We have a website, www.hivartsnetwork.org, or they can call our number, which is 212-385-4945. One of the things that is unique with this organization is there are no salaried staff. So all the people that I work with who are social workers, clinicians, psychologists, case managers are all volunteering their time to actually work with individuals who are coming to our doors.
Doneley, I also want you to talk a little bit about the Association of Death Educators and what you're doing there.
Well, I'm the chair of the People of Color Committee, and we're going to have our next annual conference in San Antonio, Texas, in April of next year. One of the things that is exciting for me and for the people who are working in the committee is the theme of the conference is on diversity. And what we'd like to highlight, and thanks to to Hope, that we will be able to videotape some of the attendees of the conference to talk about the different cultures and diverse ways in which people grieve the loss of loved ones, and allow us as professionals in this death and dying world to embrace all those different cultures, so we can be better at what we do. Because if you're dealing with a Latino person, Latino doesn't just mean Mexican or Puerto Rican. There are many colors and faces of the Latino culture, similar to white folks. Just because you're white doesn't mean that you're American. No, you're somebody from South Africa could be white, and their way of grieving the loss of loved ones is completely different from Americans. There are very non-traditional rituals that are happening. There are other ways when people can honor the deceased. They can go to a park and be in a circle and just share the memories of that loved one. They don't have to be in a cemetery. One of the things that had happened here in New York City is because there's men and women who have long lived lives because of this disease, they will have a party in honor of themselves before they die. Mm-hmm. So there is a way of saying goodbye to somebody. Yeah, they're celebrating the life of that person with the person still there, not when they're gone. And one of the things that we're encouraging people living with HIV and other people who are they know that their disease is terminal is, why don't you create a video? Why don't we do as part of your grieving process or your letting go of your life? Why don't we do a collage together? That way, when you die, we can share that with your family members and friends. There's a lot of creative ways, and I think one of the things that I love about HIV Arts Network is we don't just have to sit in a circle or sit in front of each other and talk about your dying process or your living process. We can do creative things that could be shared with other people once the loss is there.
All right. Well, thank you, Doneley, for being on our show. Well, thanks for listening to our show today. And as always, we want to say, if you have lost hope, lean on ours till you find your own. And God bless.
You've been listening to Open to Hope Radio, hosted by Drs. Gloria and Heidi Horsley. Like today's edition, all of our past programs are available on demand at opentohope.com, along with helpful articles, videos, resources, and links to help get you through the toughest time of your life. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and sign up for our monthly newsletter. Again, that's opentohope.com. Check it out today. Then be sure to stop by next Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time when we'll be posting another edition of Open to Hope Radio. Remember, others have been where you are. They made it through, and you can too, as long as you're open to hope.